What's up guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we are going over the 7 worst WrestleManias of all time. And before I start the video, I just want to give you guys a little note. If you guys are like, what's wrong with your voice? I am a bit sick, but I'm powering through it. So let's get straight onto the video with number 7, WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 29 had not one, but 2 rematches as their main matches on the card. The first one is Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, and the second one was The Rock versus John Cena. Since these were rematches, people weren't really into them. Also, this show included a really slow-paced match between Mark Henry and Ryback. Ryback ended up losing because of Mark Henry falling on top of him. After months of Ryback being built as a beast, he just lost like that. That was just weird. Also, matches such as Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger, The Shield versus Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show, and Team Hell No versus Dolph Ziggler and Biggie Langston did not help as the undercard. The best match of the night was The Undertaker versus CM Punk, which really deserved to be the main event, but instead Vince McMahon gave that to The Rock versus John Cena. Also, for some reason, they showed multiple promos of Cena versus Rock throughout the entire show, instead of just showing one promo before the match. Clearly, they tried their hardest to make people care, but the match just fell flat. Number 6, WrestleMania 27. WrestleMania 27 had only a few matches that people were actually into. People found the majority of the matches on the card boring though. One of the worst matches that happened at this Mania was the match between Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler. First of all, why would Michael Cole beat Jerry Lawler is the biggest question. And second of all, why did the match get 13 full minutes? It was honestly unnecessary and didn't have to be at WrestleMania. The best match was Undertaker versus Triple H, which is honestly one of the only matches on the card worth checking out. The Rock was the host of this WrestleMania, and the only reason he was the host was so that he could set up his match for John Cena at the next year's WrestleMania. Honestly, it would have been so much better if Cena passed the torch to The Miz instead of him losing due to The Rock's interference. Number 5, WrestleMania 2000, aka WrestleMania 16. On the entire card of WrestleMania 2000, there was only one singles match that took place, and that was between Terry Runnels and The Cat in a cat fight. Other matches that were boring include D'Lo Brown and The Godfather versus Big Boss Man and Bo Buchanan, the Hardcore Battle Royal, TNA versus Al Snow and Steve Blackman, and Rikishi and Kane versus X-Pac and Road Dogg. The best match on the card was a triple threat tag team ladder match for the tag team championships, but that match happened in the first hour and a half. The main event had a weird McMahon in every corner concept where every single wrestler in that match had a member of the McMahon family in their corner. The match was a mess and it was also disappointing. Basically, this entire card was to fill up spots for every member on the roster and also for the McMahon family to be in the main event. Number 4, WrestleMania 32. This card only featured 3 good matches, which were the 6-man ladder match for the IC title, AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho, and the triple threat match for the women's championship. Other than those matches, the matches were either bad, ended with a questionable booking decision, or both. The New Day lost to the League of Nations for some reason. Then you had 3 part-timers that buried all 7 of those guys in that match in one segment. You had Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose, which was about 15 minutes long of Lesnar hitting suplexes, with Ambrose getting in only a little bit of offense. Undertaker versus Shane McMahon, that was really slow and boring until the end. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which was kind of pointless and a match to throw people into WrestleMania. The Rock had a segment where he did nothing but just bury the Wyatt family. And finally, we had a lackluster main event. I think another terrible idea was the length of the pay-per-view. Who thought that it would be a good idea for WrestleMania to be 5 hours long? If you include the pre-show, that is 7 straight hours of WWE programming, which is way too much. Number 3, WrestleMania 11. WrestleMania 11 had many boring matches, including Undertaker versus King Kong Bundy, which is said to be one of the worst Undertaker WrestleMania matches. Owen Hart and Yokozuna faced the Smoking Guns, and you had an I Quit match between Bret Hart and Bob Backlund. The I Quit match between the two ended after Roddy Piper called for the bell, even though Bob Backlund just screamed and never said I quit. The main event of the show should have been Diesel versus Shawn Michaels, which was most likely the best match of the night. However, WWE decided to go with Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor as the main event. Putting a celebrity in the main event of WrestleMania is disrespectful to the other wrestlers, since there are guys in the locker room that work their ass off for the entire year and never get to main event of WrestleMania. But then they just give it to a football player. Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash were not too happy about this decision, and it's no shocker why Shawn Michaels got the main event of the next year's WrestleMania. Number 2, WrestleMania 9. Many say that the only 2 good matches on the entire WrestleMania card are the matches for the IC title between Shawn Michaels and Tatanka, and the Tag Team Championship match between Money Incorporated and the Mega Maniacs. Other than that, this show was awful. Two very infamous moments from WrestleMania 9 include Undertaker defeating Giant Gonzalez by DQ after Gonzalez covered Taker's face with a chloroform rag. The other one being the ending of the main event where Mr. Fiji threw salt into Bret Hart's eyes, costing him the championship. Instead of ending the show like that, Hulk Hogan came out to challenge Yokozuna for the championship for no absolute reason. This ending made no sense because Hulk Hogan just decided he wanted to face Yokozuna for the title, and then he would proceed to beat him in 22 seconds. This meant that the title match before practically meant nothing. And number 1, WrestleMania 2. WrestleMania was the first show of its kind, so they had to figure out a way to top themselves the following year. I guess Vince McMahon thought it would be a great idea to have WrestleMania in not just 1 or 2, but 3 different cities. Those cities consisted of New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. New York's main event was the boxing match between Mr. T and Roddy Piper that ended in a disqualification. Chicago's main event was the British Bulldogs versus the Dream Team for the tag titles. And finally, LA's main event was Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. Each city got 4 matches, such as the NFL versus WWE Battle Royal. All of those matches were pretty much boring, and the longest match was 13 minutes and 14 seconds. Another odd thing about this pay-per-view was the fact that it took place on a Monday. As always, thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe because right now my voice is killing me. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Pllana. Check out my other channels, Official Life Facts and NoLVP, and I'll see you all later.